Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Vikings First and SKOL with Live at the 2-minute warning. And it's not looking so good. We just got called for delay of game. Yay. March back. 5 yards. All right, here we go. It's 4th and 15. Sam Darnold's in shotgun. Getting ready to take a snap. Snap drops back. Gets pressure. Throws the ball nowhere. Incomplete. Minnesota turns it over on downs. And if you didn't know already, Detroit leads 31-9 with 4:09 left in the fourth quarter. And your Minnesota Vikings just turned it over on downs. Yes. This has not been the game we anticipated. Without a doubt, it has not. I want to welcome everybody here from Michael Endicott to R. Emmer to Jaden Berry to Two-Tone to Raymond. Biggs is here once again. Biggs, yes, you are. So, Jaden, yes. Damn it, Dave is here. Much respect. Yeah, thanks, damn it, Dave. You being a Viking or a Lions fan. Michael, yes. And Todd Taylor, rough outing tonight. Yes, it is. It has been a rough outing. So, it's what can we say? And there's another flag. Yes. Pass interference. Defense. Interesting. Okay. No, not defense. Pass interference, offense. All right. And they would have gotten the first down. Now they get nothing. And here we go. Second down, or first down and 20. And we have Jared Goff behind center. Takes the ball, hands off to Gibbs. Gibbs scoots around the left. Scoots for 10, almost 18 yards. Gibbs has had a heck of a night. 4 touchdowns. What is it? I think 4 touchdowns tonight. Just unbelievable. Nick says the one question is if Darnold could handle the spotlight, looking like he can't. But the silver lining is we get to play in a dome where many Vikings fans will be. KOC will sell a revenge game too. Yes, he will. All right. Williams didn't get the first down. It didn't look to me, but we'll see. Freddie, we better not give Darnold the bag. Aha. Biggs, everyone, such a big McCarthy backer next season. I hope you're right because it's his show. I wasn't going to mention him tonight, but that could be. Defense did a great job tonight. Yes, they did, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Julian says, JJ, quarterback of the future. Freedom Thinker, defense did everything you could ask, but now it's a full week to prepare for the Rams. Yes, it is Monday night, from what I read. So it'll be the Monday night game. Another evening game. So defense can hold only Detroit so long Sam peed his pants. Well, I don't know about peeing his pants, but he was a bit pressed tonight, that's for sure. And we got a timeout of some sort, whether it's network or called. I'm not caring a whole lot. I'm looking at the remarks. Hawks and his drops, man. The pattern's getting concerning. This one was brutal. Hey, a lot of the passes were off target, but yes. You could say him, Addison today, Jefferson today. Only one that caught most everything thrown his way was Naylor. KOC will work his ass off to fix the offense. I hope so. Our offense inside the 10-yard line was the worst I've seen in a long time. Yes, it was, Todd. We were, 0 for 4 in the red zone today? Something like that. Colts back number 2, LOL. I don't get that one. Okay. Stage was too big for Darnold. Offense lost this game. Freddie. O-line was terrible. Our wide receivers and tight end got 0 separation. Not disagreeing. McCarthy would do any better. KOC's offensive game plan got punked by a JV squad. No, I don't know if I'd call it a JV squad, but okay. Offense wore out the defense. Yeah. Congrats, Dave. I'll get McCarthy next season. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I think McCarthy has what it takes to win. I don't think he's going to fold in these situations, but that's just me, and it's a personal opinion and nothing, we've seen for sure, so we don't know. The Lions rank third in rushing yards allowed this season. We decided inside the 10 not to run at all. It was very frustrating to see that. We can talk about the rush game, and Jones, I thought, was decent tonight, but he wasn't in there all the time. He sort of looked banged up. And then Akers, other than the one good run, looked like crap. Sam was throwing high and off target a lot tonight. Yes, he was. He seemed like he was pressing, like he's too wound up, and he was zinging it high. Naylor and Jones caught passes. Don't even tag Darnold. Well, he's going to be worth that, hopefully, but we'll see. Michael says needs a drink. Hey, I'm going to scotch tonight. That's because why not? A little bit of smoke. So, Steve Waterhouse, I thought I was watching Cousins out there at certain times. Well, I don't know about Cousins. I think he would have folded even more. But anyways, and we got a tackle behind the line of scrimmage by Ivan Pace. Hey, there was some outstanding play by the defense tonight for most of the night. They look wore out. Big says it's a bad loss, but I'm glad the QB controversy is over. Like I said, I wasn't going to bring it up, but those thoughts ran through my mind tonight too, just as well. Our Emmer Van Ginkel dropping that pick 6. Oh, that was, it was so close. Lots of accurate comments. Yes, open-minded it was. It is. This is the Vikings don't love. This is why the Vikings don't love on sports shows. One score win makes show hosts skeptical. Daniel says Cousins would have been sacked 12 times. Big celebrate 4 months of membership. Yes, buddy, appreciate it. The 5th is only gone to the Super Bowl 3 times. Hey, we're still not out of it, technically. We're still not out of it. We could do some miracle run and make it there. It's just going to be interesting. Base Gyron, need to replace 3 IOL spots or get 1 or 2 interior pass rushers in free agency. KOC let every down. Yeah. I agree on the big round bellies. So, Freedom Thinker, the benefit we have heartbreaking loss before the playoffs, so we have time to correct things. Yes, we do. Sam had some elite games this season. Tonight, stage seemed too big for him. Yes, Freddie, it did. Now, I do want to thank everybody that's joined me since we started. I appreciate it very, very much. We're going to should have the full crew tonight. They said they were going to join us tonight. Daniel Fall, XSplit, split the bankers free run on Sam Darnold. Yep. It did. Split the backers. Yep. Vikings first old drive set the tone for the night. Yep. And Sam was too wound up, throwing high everywhere. But as Mary says, give the credit to the Lions for a great game plan. Play against our offense. Sam being off, too many missed opportunities. We beat ourselves. Yes, we did. Without a doubt, we beat ourselves. And the defense played great. Now, and we just kneeled it out for the end of the game. Your Minnesota Vikings have lost tonight. 31-9 is the final score. Your Minnesota Vikings are the 5th seed in the NFC with a record of 14-3 this season. They will be going to play the Rams in the Super Wild Card weekend on Monday night. So, 7 crackers, yes. Smash that like button. Appreciate it, buddy. And what is up with Reichert? That's a great question. Don't know. Well, I'm going to hit the 2-minute roll in here since I've already passed it. We're going to hit the roll in real quick, and we'll go to our first member of Vikings First and SKOL. Welcome to Vikings First and SKOLs, live at the 2-minute warning. Next. And we don't have Tyler here. Not yet, at least. We have Jonas. As soon as I bring him in. Hey, buddy, what time is it over in Germany?
5:30 a.m.
Ah. And you got to stay up all night to see that.
Yep.
So what's your
There's
first
not
impression?
much, not much more to say about that.
So, what did you think of Sam Darnold tonight?
I mean, over there, kids are probably asleep, so I would be able to say what I want to say.
Feel free.
But oh man, he remembered the way he played when he was with the Jets and thought, well, maybe this is a good time for some nostalgia, and therefore he let the good old New York Jets Sam Darnold out today.
Okay. Hey, Michael, how do I sound now? I noticed my slider was down a bit. I moved it up. So, yeah, Sam was off most of the game. I was hoping that after the hit in the second quarter where he got hit out of bounds, that would knock the rust and knock him back into focus where he wasn't so hyped up and zinging the ball like he was. But because his next couple passes were on the numbers. But it didn't stay that way, so it is what it is.
I mean, yeah, he was off target a lot of times, but I think the bigger issue was that he just wasn't seeing the field today, like at all. Receivers were open, which is why I'm pushing back against the notion that Kevin O'Connell didn't have answers today, because there were open receivers running all over the line secondary, especially in the first half. And especially in those deep red zone drives, there were open receivers running through the end zone. Just go hit them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I
And
agree.
that's the big issue. If you can't do that, nothing else matters, because I mean, you can call the plays all you want. If you don't see open receivers, it's not gonna work, because I mean, I don't know what happened today. He was indecisive. He wasn't seeing anything. I don't know how many pump fakes he did today, because he wanted to throw something, then he didn't. He stared down receivers, wanted to throw to them. They were open, and then he somehow didn't pull the trigger for some reason, and I don't know what happened today. And like, I would love to have a schematic answer to that, but I don't think there is any. He was just bad.
Hmm.
It's just that simple. The Vikings were in positions to get it done. They had their guys open, and that's all you can ask from a coaching staff. Like, they had their guys open. That's what they are supposed to do. At some point, just hit them. Make the goddamn play. It's there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right. Now, let's bring Jonas back in. Darren, what did you think as you're taking a swig?
That's what I thought. Yeah, what did we say yesterday on the preview show, Dave? That I thought this game would largely be won and lost on how we handled the blitzing of Aaron Glenn. Well, we got our answer tonight, and the answer wasn't to our liking.
Correct. And
I
they
also
were beating
thought
up
that
on Sam, something terrible.
they were, which was encouraged by, I think, Darnold's poor play, particularly in the first half, where he obviously he was rushed. He was getting hit a lot, which is not something a quarterback wants to have happen to them. Kevin O'Connell or Darnold weren't coming up with any answers to what Detroit was doing, so to back them off from that. And so what they're not going to change it if it's working, and they didn't. And yeah, it gets pretty simple. The defense played really well. Our defense played really well the first half, but when you're on the field that long and you're facing an offense that's as good as Detroit's, you're probably not going to be able to keep up that level of play the entire game, and they weren't able to.
Mm-hmm.
I will say there's worse things to be than 14-3. However,
yes, well, that's true. Now, speaking of time, the Lions dominated with 36 minutes and 12 seconds to our 23-48 for time of possession. So, hey, it is what it is. Well,
everything was tough on offense for us tonight. There was very little was easy except for the Akers run and maybe the one catch that Justin Jefferson made. I think it was late in the first quarter or some early in the second quarter. The one time he kind of got free and had a typical kind of game. But those dagger routes that typically the Darnold feet and the Vikings feast on and Jefferson feast on, couldn't get any of them going because Darnold didn't have a lot of time, and he was inaccurate and sailed the ones that he did have. But if I look back on the tape on a lot of those throws, I'll find that he didn't really have many clean pockets to step up and throw into anyway. He was under a lot of duress. I'm not sure how many quarterbacks would have done a whole lot better, but disappointed that we didn't have some answers to that, and disappointed that the offensive line, the blocking schemes didn't work in this game and failed poorly the whole night. And of course, Los Angeles' defense, who we'll be facing next Monday night, has been playing pretty well the second half of the season and are pretty good at putting pressure on the quarterback with Jared Verse and Fisk. So they're definitely going to be looking at what Aaron Glenn dialed up and looking to see if they can replicate that or do different twists on it that will confuse the Vikings offensive line and protection schemes even more.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree on that to a certain extent. In the end, they got a lot of pressure because they were ahead. They were able to pin their ears back and rush the passer because they knew with the game script the running game was off. In the first half, I didn't think the pressure was quick. It wasn't. Darnold had time. He just stood in the pocket, 1, 2, 3, and he still wasn't pulling the trigger. The receivers were open. He still didn't throw the ball. At some point, protection is always going to break. Like after 4 seconds, you're going to have somebody in your lap.
Yeah, but not all the plays. See, you're both right, but not all the plays were like that. There was some where he had pressure relatively quickly, and they were closing the pocket. They were squeezing the pocket on him.
Yeah, sure, that's going to happen if your opponent is going to blitz, but the quick options were there. He just didn't took them.
Right. Oh, I'm not disagreeing there. There was receivers open most of the night. And there's going to be people that blame KOC on this. I don't blame KOC on this. I blame, basically, Sam Darnold.
So I'm pretty sure
early.
if you watch any all 22 film of any fucking game that's played in the NFL, you can always point to some receiver. Look, he's wide open. Why didn't so and so hit him? Well, because they didn't have time, or there's a guy landing in their lap, or they got moved off their spot. And to say that that didn't happen to Darnold tonight, and that the Detroit pass rush didn't affect him from the get-go, I disagree with that, because you could see it right in his face. There was one point in the second quarter, it was loud, and his eyes are wide, big, big, big. You could tell that he was not handling this very well. And that is not something we've seen from Sam Darnold this year. And unfortunately, we saw it tonight. And this is going to lead people to pile on him now and say, that's why you don't sign Sam Darnold to an extension and blah, 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 blah. But the Vikings are going to have to move on from this, and they will move on from this. And I'm confident we will not see a similar performance Monday night. And maybe we won't get the win. I feel that we will, but I feel that you're going to see a much sharper team on offense for sure. The question is, will we see a sharper team on defense? Because the last time we played the Rams, they marched up and down the field on us with no problem. And that is where they're going to have to make some improvements too and figure out how to stop Sean McVay and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, even though Cooper Kupp seems not nearly what he was a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm. And T-Bass, I agree. And I've already banned one. So it is what it is. Sally, why aren't you hopped on yet? Saw you in the remarks. But we'll see. It was not good. When you look at it, we had box score stats. Sammy threw 18 of 41. That's not a good night, folks. Average of 4 yards, took 2 sacks for 24 yards. Now, QBR of 55.5, which has probably got to be one of his lowest of the year.
Might be one of the lowest of his career.
Yeah. Receptions, JJ had 3 for 54 yards on 9 targets. Naylor had 3 for 53 yards on 4 targets. Aaron Jones had 5 for 30 yards on 6 targets. Josh Oliver had 2 for 16 on 3 targets. TJ Hawkinson, 2 for 9 on 8 targets. Cam Akers, 2 for 4. I didn't realize he caught a couple passes on 2 targets. And Jordan Addison, 1 on 6 targets.
And he didn't gain a yard
on
the catch.
Nope.
Lots of things are going to have to fix here, and they'll have to fix them pretty quick. But I believe that this team, again, I don't know if people will, but as disappointing as this loss is, you look at the totality of the season, and this is the first game the Vikings have not been competitive in, whereas last year and in 2022 we saw that several times. So this is still a very good team that had a bad performance, particularly on offense in this game when it could least afford it. But I am a believer in this team and feel that they're going to not put up a similar performance next week against the Rams.
PA was saying whoever loses this one loses next week as well.
Well,
but that's his PA being Paul Allen. That's his take.
Yeah, you can make that argument. I feel that this playoff roster, well, not roster, but the 7 teams in the playoffs, it's a very good 7-team playoff. There's no easy games in there. Tampa Bay is a very strong offense. Defensively, they are kind of hit and miss, but offensively, they're very strong. Los Angeles has been pretty stout defensively in the second half of the season, and offensively, they have shown that they can move the ball well and be explosive as well. And they're the teams with the worst records of the 7.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the Vikings were going to have whoever they played, whether they got a week off or not, better to play at home. But it was going to be it's going to be a tough matchup no matter who they play, from the first game to however long the playoff
However long we
run
last in the
lasts.
playoffs. Yeah. Whether we
And
make it to the rubber game with Detroit or not. Mm-hmm. All right. Time to switch screens. We have all 5 here. Well, Sal, sort of. Tyler, what do you think?
I have a lot of things to say. Man, hats off to the Lions. They beat our butts. That's number one. They had a phenomenal defensive game plan, and it worked. And I thought there was a lack of adjustments from the initial viewing from Kevin O'Connell. There were some screens and stuff, but they just kept trying to find the deep play, and it just wasn't there all night. They have Pro Bowl safety in Brian Branch, and then they have Kirby Joseph, who's got 9 picks, who was second alternate. Like, they can afford to play super aggressive with their corners, even if they don't have great corners. And just the lack of execution in the red zone. Going into the game, Sam Darnold was first in the NFL inside the 10-yard line in completion percentage. At one point, he was 1 for 9 inside the 10. Like, inches cost us the game early. A few inches here, TJ Hawkinson catches it. A few inches there, Justin Jefferson catches 2 touchdowns. Just
More
NFL's
like a foot. But yeah, okay.
Like, if it's 6 inches, like, Jefferson gets his hands on, he probably is able to bring it in. Like, it just inches early on cost the Vikings, and then all of a sudden, hey, they I need to figure out why I started asking around why they were trying to kick into the drop zone 0 to 20. They did that a couple times in the first half, and the second time put the ball to the 40 because it didn't go through the end zone like the first time, rolled out of bounds. So what was the thinking there? Why? There's a reason, and there's a good one, because I looked back in my notes, and Kevin O'Connell talked about back in October why they wanted to kick it through the end zone, and that was a pretty normal thing.
Yeah, but
They
when
wanted
he
to kick it.
when he kicked it out of bounds, I was watching his plant foot. It slipped on the paint.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's noteworthy. I'll watch the all 22 and kind of get a sense of that, but it was just inches here, inches there. The defense played really well against the Lions, but eventually time of possession caught up with them, and then they were out of gas. And then along with that, some of the personnel deficiencies really kicked in. The interior of that offensive line really missed Christian Darrisaw, his ability to just dominate on an island, so then they can get help on the interior. We've seen that problem manifest before, but Darnold has been able to adjust. And it started happening against the Packers where he kept missing a high. And I pointed that out to you, Dave, and he just kept missing high. I'm like, why is he missing high? This is just wild. And then that problem manifested again. He wasn't able to escape the pocket and maneuver the pocket like he would against other teams, because this Lions team was not trying to rush up the field. They were just trying to push you straight back. And that really limits your pocket movement. And then that kind of crippled Darnold a little bit, because that's been his game, where he's just been able to maneuver in the pocket and find, the B gap on the left is open, so I'll slide in there. He wasn't able to do any of those things. And that amplified and magnified a lot of the issues that they were having on offense. And just overall, I'm not going to go as far to say that they didn't show up, because they obviously did. And the little things just ended up compounding, avalanche, snowball, and they just got whooped. Just incredibly frustrating. And now they're coming off a loss to the Lions, and they got to go to Los Angeles and take on the Rams. This time it's a full 7-day rest. But, man.
But it feels like deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
It's 8 days, actually.
You
They're
can't
playing Monday night.
Yeah,
Jonas.
so that would be 7 days of rest, Monday through Sunday, right?
Yes.
But
Should be 8 days from Sunday to
It's
Sunday.
8. We get over a week.
Yeah, just can't be anything but disappointed, upset. It's like I have a really weird way of kind of dealing with this kind of stuff, where I don't really yell at the TV anymore. I just kind of like bottle it in, and
I drink. Speaking of drinking, Sal, how are you doing tonight?
Oh man, you guys, I'm bummed. I definitely am nowhere near the amount of bummed that I see in the chat here tonight. It looks like a lot of people are ready to jump ship, and it's a little depressing. So I might need to minimize that. Look, we usually get a loss like this from the Vikings at least a couple times per year. This year we haven't had one, and so I think I have felt very spoiled. Like, I don't think it's going to happen to this team. I don't think that this team can come out and play flat like all of the teams that we've been accustomed to throughout our lives. And tonight they did it in the one time you don't want them to do it. And so, of course, it's disappointing. This was the Sam Darnold that I thought we were signing to this football team back in February that we were going to see every week. And so I feel very fortunate that we didn't meet him until tonight in week 18, but it's a bummer, of course. I agree with what a lot of you guys have said. He was off from the get-go. He was throwing high, like Tyler said. And it seemed like the pressure really got to him tonight, which, it's a bummer. But the chat is really, really bumming me out with everyone I feel like everyone's maybe a little overly critical of him. I get it, why it's disappointing, but yeah, I think he's definitely going to be the scapegoat for this one for sure, which I'm not saying it's undeserved, but I think we didn't expect to be here in the first place. So I think we should all just maybe enjoy it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds weird, not to enjoy the loss, of course not, but this whole season, and it's been so exciting, right? It's so cool that we're even in this place, that we're 14-3 and that we've been able to see the growth from this team. So I don't know. I just hate seeing everyone bailing on it already.
Well, we do have to congratulate the Lions. They
played great. They had a great game.
15-2. They game planned this well, defensively and offensively. They executed where we failed to, and you got to give them credit. They did well, and whether their coach wins Coach of the Year or not, there's an argument to be made with all the injuries why he should.
I will say one thing I'm very, very happy about is that I did not take the Vikings up on that $200 fifth row ticket offer, because wow, I would be like the people, way worse than the people in the chat right now. I would be just laying in the middle of the street and telling Dustin Baker, just run over me and leave me here. So
I saw that Dustin did make it to the game, so.
Yeah, Dustin did go, and they were pestering me to the last minute to get in the car, and I did not do it. So at least there's that. But it sucks that they're going to LA. Obviously, I would have preferred they were going to Tampa, but I'm happy that I don't want them to play in prime time. But at least, as you guys were saying, they get the full rest, and we'll see. We'll see what they can dial up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Someone stole a bag of marshmallows from somewhere, so.
All right, go check it out. She's referring to one of the doggies.
Priorities.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But, Tyler, does this settle it? Are we getting JJ McCarthy next year?
Look, this is frustrating. Everybody has every right to be frustrated. Everybody has every right to X, Y, or Z. But the one thing I don't think this truly decides is this has to be JJ McCarthy's team, or this has to be Sam Darnold's team. Sam Darnold played incredible pretty much the entire season outside of a couple games, and one of them was a weather game in London. The Jags game was his only true dud, and a lot of this game was not his fault. Some of it was, and he deserves plenty of blame for those instances, the slight misses and stuff. But if you're going to use a one game sample size, other than, hey, it's a Super Bowl and you threw 5 interceptions, I'm sorry, I'm not taking that. I'm still even keel. I'm still undecided on what my preferred route is going to be. I think you need to take all the data from the season and then make up your mind. And to me, anybody who has already made up their mind about what they want or should do is just doing the process wrong. Take the time, let all the information come in, and then make up your mind. It's okay to have a preferred path, but to be dead set, this is how it has to be, I think is is bad process. That's not how this team operates. That's not how we should operate as a people. Even if it's outside of the world of football, that's not how you should operate. You should have an open mind because new information can change it. And that is an okay thing to do. Like, is McCarthy probably the best path? Yeah, probably. But I'm not going to say that this game, Darnold was so bad in this game. Well, there were a lot of things that were bad in this game that weren't Sam Darnold. The best part about this game, I think, was Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator. What a game. Hats off. That was a tremendously called football game by him, and he deserves every ounce of praise for it.
Yep, without a doubt. But like I said, they kept Detroit in check. Brian Flores did for so long in this game.
Yeah, give it up to Harrison Smith for that pick. That was awesome.
37th of his career.
Yeah. That was awesome. It's a bummer they couldn't do anything with it after that. But it was really cool to see him get that.
Now, Freddie brings up red zones. We were 0 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone today.
Yeah.
What
can you say? They were tremendous in the red zone. That was the biggest part of the game. The Lions, somebody, I think it was my boss who told me, is like, yeah, it was almost like Aaron Glenn just ignored every other aspect of the game and just said, we'll let him move the ball. We ain't letting him score in the red zone. If that's actually what they did, which that's not what they did, but if they put that much focus on the red zone, it paid off. Good for them. There's so much that, like, what's frustrating about a loss like this is it feels like everything is so much worse than it is. But we need the all 22. We need to be able to inspect it. We need to be able to look at X, Y, and Z. And then once we're able to do that, then we can really decide, okay, how much is on each person? Because right now the vibes are really, really bad, and they should be. It feels like the Vikings just got destroyed on national television, which 31-9. I mean, that game was a lot closer than 31-9. It was a 17-9 game going into the fourth quarter. But the vibes are really, really bad. And they're going to have to figure it out real quick because it's do or die now. They had a chance to have a week off. They had a chance to play at US Bank Stadium. Luckily, I don't know if it's luck per se, but the Vikings have a chance still to win the Super Bowl. They got to do it in 4 games instead of 3. But 2 5 seeds won the Super Bowl. Giants in 2007. And then the Buccaneers in 2020. Now, Tom Brady ain't walking through that door, but it's not an impossibility.
Jonas?
You're probably going to have to go through Detroit. That's going to be hard.
Sam, Jonas, do you think Sam could beat Tom Brady? Take us to the Super Bowl?
No. To be honest, no. I mean, our defense could be better than the Tampa Bay defense. So there's that. So maybe he doesn't need to be Tom Brady, but he isn't. And he can't be. I don't think he can be. Like, especially in those situations where you have to give the offense a floor, where you just have to take the guys that are there, and he just didn't do that. He was chasing the deep ball. He was holding the ball too long. The options were there. He didn't take them, and that's what you can't do in those moments. Other than that, I have to take off now because I have to take a shower and then go to work. Don't have much time, so gotta hop off now.
All right, Jonas. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, Tuesday morning.
Bye, Jonas.
Bye.
And there goes Jonas. Now,
imagine starting your day like that. At least we're ending our day like with that.
So, yeah, it is. But it is what it is. Got to give it to him. He pulls through and comes on. So I respect him for that.
Can you guys help me understand this whole injury situation? Because I feel like the entire last quarter, at least of the season, or third of the season, the narrative is always the Lions are so beat up. The Lions are so beat up. They have nobody on defense. And so every situation that we've seen them win in recently, for the most part, have been shootouts. So I guess that's made sense to me why they can still pull through. But tonight, the team that we played did not look like they were, scarecrows in there. They were saying, they have nobody left on the bench to even put in. How is this possible?
My theory is this: play style and do or die. Like, they could have lost to the Bills. They could have lost to the 49ers, and it really didn't end up mattering. This game was the one that mattered. And how they played on defense tonight was a huge factor in how the Vikings just weren't able to get much done. Pushing back the pocket and collapsing it and not leaving any open space for Darnold to maneuver. The best way to go against these Vikings receivers is to be incredibly physical with them. And when you have great safeties on the back end, it gives you a little bit more flexibility to be extra physical. Remember the Lambeau game in 2022 where Jair Alexander was all over Justin Jefferson? It's because he had a safety over the top the whole time. You can do those kind of things when you have the safety over the top. I just think even with the lack of players on defense, it was incredibly they just had a great game plan. They executed it, and they figured out how to attack the Vikings offense in a way where they could not be able to generate those explosives, which they have all season. Not one single pass was completed over 20 yards tonight. Not one. Sam Darnold led the National Football League in passes completed over 20 yards in the air this season with 29 going into week 18. Those things end up mattering huge. I think Alex Anzalone being back was a massive difference maker because I thought the middle of the field was going to be the biggest thing. The Vikings could win the middle of the field. They win this game. Early on, I thought they did a really good job of kind of stifling some of the middle of the field game for the Lions. But then they just figured, okay, we're figuring out how they're trying to blitz us. So now let's just pepper in against the blitz. And to a point, it was working well enough. They were getting them into 4th downs where they were able to stop them, but it wasn't good enough because they just held the ball and just drained the Vikings defense, drained them completely. And they're going to have to find a different game plan. Because a few times where they did drop 8, like Jonathan Grenard got a sack on that 3rd and 20 when they only rushed 3. They're going to have to, you have to do more of that. But the problem is your NASCAR package is Jihad Ward, 280 pounds on the inside. He's not that kind of mover like Jeffrey Simmons is, which is why there's that huge conversation. Some of the talent gaps also showed up huge tonight too. And what can you do? This just sucks from a fan perspective, from an analyst perspective, everybody in that locker room is pissed as hell. But now you have to wake up tomorrow, go back to work, and can you make a run? Other teams have made runs. 5 wildcard teams have won the Super Bowl before. Can you do it? And the Rams are not a great matchup because of how they like to play football. But we know the Rams better than almost any team in the National Football League because that half of that offensive staff is now with the Vikings from that Super Bowl run. So we'll see.
Any last words there, Darren?
Just that the Vikings they'll need to have a short memory. You got to learn from what happened tonight, but they're going to have to anticipate ways that the Rams might use this tape and again try to build on it defensively and improve on it to negate the Vikings offense and what they like to do, just like the Lions did tonight. Certainly, but I don't. I'd be very, 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 very surprised. I'd be willing to bet $100 or more that we're not going to see this same offensive performance next Monday night against the Rams. You're going to see a much sharper Sam Darnold, much sharper and more answers to what the Rams might present to us. And that's going to make a big difference, and we're going to win that game.
Well, good. Who have you got there, Sal?
Okay, you guys, so this is my new foster dog. I just got him yesterday, and his name is Ginkle.
He's adorable.
Oh, that's awesome. I love Bulldogs.
Yeah, this is his camera debut, so he's a little shy. But we'll get him more comfortable. But yeah, I got to name him. Of course, I wanted to name him Darnold, but then I found out Underdog had a Darnold last month, so he couldn't be Darnold. So he's Ginkle, but I think he's more of a Ginkle anyways, let's be honest.
And Van Ginkel had a hell of a game tonight.
He did.
Smacked Gibbs.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That was a heck of a hit.
That pick six that he dropped. Ooh,
I know.
That too.
There was.
I said that.
He takes that to the house, and who knows what direction the game goes. Although I suspect with the way our offense was performing tonight, probably the outcome wouldn't have been much different. But who knows?
There's Scottish.
He read it again.
I said that was their one chance for a touchdown. That it was over after that. No one else was getting in there.
Scottish Bears joined us. The Bears, as a friend said, screwed up a one-car parade, messed up their draft position, but they did beat the Green Bay Packers earlier today. Good for them.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, now the Packers got to go on the road to play Philly. That'll be a good game to watch.
The thing that sucks is we have to kind of root for them for the potential to have another home game.
No.
I'm not going to. Well,
I understand that, but no.
Well, I will say, if the Vikings end up winning, it's a non-zero chance the Packers beat Philly. It's also a non-zero chance that the Commanders beat the Bucs because they're dealing with a similar level of injuries. They just lost safety Jordan Whitehead to a car crash.
What?
And he got put on the non-football injury list. Yeah, he got in a car accident on Saturday afternoon. And NFI list. So, I mean, look, it's wishful thinking, but the Vikings could theoretically host a game in the divisional round. They need all the road teams to win, but that's also happened before, I believe. So, like the number 2 seed in this conference is the Eagles, and the Packers almost beat them in week 1 on a neutral site, and that Packers defense is playing out of their minds. So if Love is healthy, it sounds like he just dinged his funny bone. So, and they just kept him out for precautionary reasons. And if that's the case, who knows?
I know he was sitting there with his hand. I didn't know that it was a funny bone, but okay. Gink is absolutely adorable, Sal.
Isn't it? Yeah, when you see him when he's actually hyper, he's way cuter and his ears are perked up and stuff. I think he's like, what is this woman doing to me? What is this light in my face? But probably next week or whatever, we'll see him looking extra cute. I got a Vikings jersey for him, so we'll have him dressed up Monday.
You mean Tuesday?
Well, Tuesday, but I mean, I don't know if it'll be here in time for Tuesday, but for the game Monday, for sure, he'll be ready to go.
So, have you got plans for Tuesday night, Sal?
Well, yeah. So Dustin Baker is coming on Tuesday because he was going to give me the whole fan experience, and he still is. But I was thinking it was going to be a lot more fun than when I asked him to do it. So now it might not be as fun, but we'll still at least hear all about driving there. I mean, for him from Sioux Falls, I want to say that's 16 hours that he's driving there and back. So, yeah. I said, it could be worse. But so, yeah, he's going to tell us all about his experience, what the fans were like and all of that.
Who could name this quote? Well, it was over when the Germans... Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
That's
wrong country there.
Is that from a movie? Come on!
Don't know that movie.
John Belushi.
My brain. Oh, Belushi, yeah. My brain was going to old school.
1941 was the movie.
Oh.
No, that was
Hey, Freddie,
Animal House.
and I get it, but nobody else does.
That was Animal House.
I haven't seen it.
Wasn't it?
I think it was 1941, but it could be Animal House. But it was one of the two. But Scottish Bear, yes, our season is still alive, and we could meet kittens in the
Animal
championship
House.
rounds. Animal House.
The chat says Animal House. So
Okay, it's Animal House, but still John Belushi. But anyways.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a weird situation to be in, to be a 14-3 team and now have to go on the road and be the 5th seed, and it sucks. But I'm trying to just remind myself that none of this was expected. And
yeah, we were supposed to only win 6.5 games, remember?
yeah. So I'm trying not to get too down about it.
As Big says, 55 years he's been disappointed by this team. Why would this season be any different?
At least they're finding new ways to do it, though, you know?
They haven't disappointed me. Well, they disappointed me tonight, but overall, season's still alive.
Yes.
Exactly.
Gotta have some faith. I know it's tough for Vikings fans, but at 14-3.
Yep. Hey, it's a great season.
The Rams are not the 85 Bears. So let's not give them more credit. Let's not give them more credit than they deserve.
Mm-hmm. So we still need a SKOL to the bowl. Without a doubt, win one before we die. Everything like that. Oh, might have been here since 61. Wow, you're older than I am. Good for you. So, Tyler, last words, and tell us what's going to be on tomorrow night.
Well, we're going to break down this game. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about the nuances behind like some of the things that the Lions were doing. We're going to talk about the adjustments that the Vikings did or didn't make. And honestly, inches cost this team the game. And great teams are the ones that are able to capitalize on those inches, and others aren't. Because what happens if Van Ginkel, who has that ball in his hands, takes that for 6? What happens if Justin Jefferson, who gets his hands on that ball, brings it in? Like, we just didn't make those plays tonight, and it's usually like a few games or a few plays a game that really, truly decide it, and the Vikings really didn't have enough go their way. And that's their own fault. Like, I'm not going to blame anybody else. I know I saw some discussion about the refs. Don't blame the refs. The Vikings lost this game. They lost it straight up. So
they called more penalties on the Lions than they did on the Vikings.
Yeah, right. But they did screw up some penalties that should have been called.
They went with the philosophy where if we're super physical with you all game, they can't call them all, and they were right.
And I said that in the pregame.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, yeah. What do we say, folks?
SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings, baby.
SKOL Vikings.
And remember, this season isn't over yet. SKOL Vikings. And thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And share this episode with your friends and even your enemies. We'd love it. Thanks for watching Vikings First and SKOL. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and we appreciate each and every one of you. SKOL.